Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of Race Week. Now, earlier this week, you may or may not have seen that the Japanese Grand Prix had been cancelled, making it the second Grand Prix in the latter half, third Grand Prix to be cancelled in the latter half of the calendar following cancellations to the Australian and Singapore Grand Prix. But there's a little bit of a problem, because it's not just, of course, based on the fact that these countries have high rates. It's also based on the United Kingdom's red, amber and green travel list. Now, you might remember that Turkey was originally scheduled to replace the originally cancelled Canadian Grand Prix back in June, but then got cancelled due to the fact that it was on the United Kingdom's red list. Now, you might be wondering, why is the UK's red list so important when F1 is supposed to be a global supersport? Well, maybe this map will help you understand why. Yes, 70% of the grid is based in the UK. Haas, Alpine, Williams, Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin and Red Bull all have their main bases in the UK. So the fact of the matter is, the large majority of personnel from F1 is going to be based in the UK, and F1, by the way, also has its headquarters in the UK as well. So therefore, a lot of the personnel within the teams, although some of these teams are not UK registered companies, a lot of the personnel are going to be UK employees, British citizens basically. So that's the main reason why the red, amber and green list. So speaking of those lists, we might have a little bit of a problem, because you can see here that this is the latest list that I found on the government website. They haven't updated it for 3 weeks, which is just typical of the UK government at the moment, bearing in mind they're being absolutely useless at times as well. But the red list has Brazil, Mexico and Turkey, and we need to really know what's going on. Will we be able to go to Turkey? There are people saying that they will, but then there won't be a Grand Prix 2 weeks either side of it. And then there's Brazil and Mexico, supposed to be a double header. Brazil wants to have their race a week later than planned, but they say that it does want to go ahead, but it's on the red list. So you've got the full 2 weeks out isolation afterwards, and you obviously they probably want to replace the Australia list. Obviously the amber list isn't too bad, because I don't think you don't have to self-isolate coming from an amber country anymore if you are double jabbed, despite the latest science. Basically, Bahrain, Belgium, Canada, China, France, Italy, Malaysia, Qatar, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Spain, the United States and the UAE are all on those lists. And the green list are Australia, Germany and Singapore. So yes, obviously we won't be going to Australia or Singapore, and I suspect Australia will be dropping to the amber list with the rate of new infections that they're getting there now. Germany is a great shout, so we'll come back to that later. We'll come to that now. What could the alternate calendar look like? Which tracks could we be racing at? Now, bearing in mind, obviously there's a little bit of time still to go to the likes of Brazil, Mexico and Turkey. They're not until October, but we don't want last minute cancellations and not replacing it, especially the fact that Liberty Media want to try and cram in as many Grand Prix as possible, so then they can do their test to see how people and teams have managed to cope over a long season, and say, okay, the teams have managed to cope this way, we'll put this mechanism in place, etc, so then we can increase, because of course a long-term Liberty Media target is to have 25 rounds a season. So that's just something to bear in mind. But bearing in mind that obviously there is obviously location, etc., etc., this is the calendar that I've come up with. Obviously, I think the next 4 Grand Prix, Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy and Russia, are probably going to go ahead as planned. I don't see a problem for those 4 races, but when we get to October, you'll notice there's a difference. Obviously, if Turkey, Mexico, Brazil are cancelled, then this could be a problem. So, I reckon that they'll probably, after this, go back to Europe. The Nürburgring, hosted the Eiffel Grand Prix at the same weekend last year. So, I've put it in for the 8th to the 10th of October to reflect of that. I originally, on my previous little calendar, had it a week early with a triple header with Russia, but I don't. After a triple header, it's after 4 races pretty much within the space of 4 weeks. 5 weeks or so. You don't really want to be cramming the calendar too much as well. And this has a better flow with it, to finish off the season really with 2 double headers and then a triple header to finish off. But yes, I think Germany, the Nürburgring, and then Mugello will probably follow the week after as well. Especially the fact that it provided an exciting race there. It'd probably still be warm in Italy at that point. So, yes. Now, the USA is a little bit of an issue because of what's happening in Austin. Now, Austin apparently has a large amount of people with COVID in intensive care at the moment, which is very bad. Most likely due to the fact that the governor of Texas is an idiot, but we'll gloss over that. Indianapolis has already been linked as a strong favourite to replace Suzuka, but I think that Indianapolis will actually be the United States Grand Prix this year. And will be on that Halloween date, obviously. This slightly pushed back due to having the extra round in Europe instead. So that's probably going to be on the calendar. Again, there's going to be a little bit of the date swapping as we pick different locations instead. I have put a second round in the United States the following week. I originally had Miami listed, but I don't think we will be able to go to Miami because they're resurfacing the car park at the moment for next year. So wherever we go, it will probably be another permanent circuit, but there's so many to choose from that they could pick anywhere in the US, or that race could be Mexico or Brazil if they come off the red list in time as well, depending on how bad it is, but we'll see about that. And then I've picked a triple header to finish off. Qatar has been, since the last video, Qatar has been rumoured and linked to holding a Grand Prix, and not just as a one-off. They want a 10-year contract, although not next year because of the World Cup, Football World Cup. But that would be where it would fit in the calendar. And then obviously the final 2 rounds are Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, as they currently are. Although there are rumours again that Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi could swap. But that would be a minor thing. They'll just swap the dates rather than be anything major. So that's really what I think the calendar might look like. It's the USA, the second USA round is an interesting one because obviously we're still yet to see what F1 decides to do. They did say in their little statement when Japan got cancelled that they will announce a full calendar in the coming weeks. So we'll see what comes out. Probably be after. I reckon it'll probably be after. We won't probably hear anything until after the Italian Grand Prix. It'll be that late. That'll be a month before the round in October. So that's what I think the calendar will be. Let me know what you think in the comment below about the calendar, which tracks you think will be there, especially for that second USA slot as well. If you're all new around here though, please do get subscribed for weekly F1 gaming content. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.